Oh, it says we're recording in progress.
Okay, excellent.
That
Good
is.
afternoon, Miss Ray.
Good afternoon, Miss Betty.
I'm happy
Are
to
you
see you,
Betty
and
Betty?
I'm happy to see you, and we finally got together.
Yeah, we did it. It's a good thing we're persistent, huh?
Yes, it is. Okay, you said the questions, is that the ones that I sent you?
Yeah, because there was some I had never heard of
Ooh,
or that I
okay,
didn't recall hearing.
okay. So anyway, top of the line is that we're talking about Mammy and Pappy and the first, the pre-greatest generation, right?
That's right. I
Okay.
think at once I looked that up, and I don't remember that they had any before the greatest, but anyway, I'll write that down and Google it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. What was the generation before the greatest generation?
Yeah.
The greatest generation's ancestors or something.
Okay.
All right. So the things that I sent you that I had thought about was um, the first one was Mammy and Pappy, and I don't know whether this was when they were living beside the little Presbyterian church or whether it was when they had built the house on Main Street. But anyway, there was a huge fire at the cotton mill, which was across the street from the little Presbyterian church in the middle
It
of the
was?
night. Yeah. You didn't know there was a cotton mill there?
No, I just knew the one down around Longhurst or
No, there's a cotton mill there. And well, when I first remember it, it was just stone or concrete, what was left of some concrete walls there.
really?
Yeah. Anyway, it burned and made huge you know, fire and everything. And what I heard was that Pappy waked up and he wake Mammy up and he said, Annie, wake up. It's Judgment Day. So, so that
What a
was sad,
horrible
but it was
day.
kind of funny.
Well, you can tell where, what his background
Yeah, a
was.
fiery Baptist background. Okay, and then this next one this wasn't about Mammy and Pappy, but this was about, I can't remember. Seems like it might have been about Louise Bradsher, Darcy's wife, about her parents. And her dad was, I don't know whether he was driving a horse carriage or whether he was driving an automobile, but anyway, at an intersection, he just drove right in front of the oncoming traffic. And and later they said, well, why did you pull out when you saw the car coming? And he said, well, Annie said, go. I don't know that our hubbies would have done that, Ray, when we had hubbies.
No,
If we said go, they probably would have sat there a little while longer.
that's right. Well, Bear, when he was really little once, I was taking the kids to church, but the, you know, for some reason, all the lights and everything stopped. And so we were at a big intersection, and Bear kept saying, go, go. And I said, Bear, we can't go yet. I and he kept saying, go, go. And I said, why are you saying that? And he said, well, Dad said that anybody over 21 could do anything she wanted. So I guess
I'm going to write that down because that's very helpful.
was so Louise's mom's name was Annie too.
Well, I'm just telling you what I think I remember,
Yeah.
which reminds me that I need to do my declaimer that I've discovered that a lot of my memories aren't really memories.
Oh
They're
God.
mushed together with other memories.
Yeah.
And so take all my memories with a grain of salt. But this is just what I'm remembering as of January 22nd of 2025.
I think her. I think Louise's dad's name was Leslie. That's
Oh,
how.
so that's where Leslie got her name.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Her mom might have been an aunt, and sure enough, I don't remember.
Well, like you say, we'll have to look it up.
Have to look it up.
And the other thing, this is, well, I guess this first one would be back when Mammy and Pappy were living in the little house beside the church on Back Street. And we heard that one of their first quote, quote, discussions was whether their whether Pappy's dogs should be in the house. And that Mammy won that one. His dogs were not in the house.
Well, weren't they hunting dogs like bloodhounds or something?
Probably.
And Mammy was just saying, no way. So they had the dogs in the little house? That had to be crowded if Mammy allowed it.
Yeah.
Of course, they probably didn't have 6 kids at that time either.
Right. So I don't know where the dogs had been before they married. Maybe
I
they were
wonder
outside
where
dogs.
I wonder where Pappy lived before that.
Well, it was probably that house
Probably
on Main
up the
Street.
street. Yeah, yeah, I bet that's right.
And and this is one thing I remember when they were at the big house on Main Street. And that is I would go with Pappy to slop the pigs. So on the back porch, it was just screened in at that time, right? Back porch at,
Yeah,
on Main Street. And so on the back porch, there would be a big pail, maybe two big pails. And then it was probably like the composting, they would put everything
yeah.
edible at all in that. And then Pappy would carry them down behind the Presbyterian church, which was where the pigs were. And so I would go with Pappy to slop the hogs, which is really fun. And the hogs were in this pen behind the church, and the fence was really rough wood slats. And so
Yeah.
you could stand between the slats and look over and see the pigs who were delighted to have their supper.
Oh,
So,
I bet they were.
yes. So that was a big treat.
So, did that last long enough for Anne to slop the hogs, or did she ever get to?
We'll have to ask her.
Yeah, Anne, did you slop the hogs?
At the next cousins, we'll have to ask who
Yes.
else got to do that. I'm not sure anybody else did because I think I've mentioned that at the cousins and they were all shocked.
Uh, you mean the cousins, the
Zoom.
the Wednesday cousins, not this
Yeah.
past? Yeah, I think I was on that one, and Anne was there, so she must not have remembered it. So I guess Betty, you were the chosen.
I guess so. I was like 4 or 5 years older than Anne, so maybe by the time she came along,
Oh, yeah.
maybe she was too little.
So did they make noises during the church service?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't ever remember. I don't ever remember any noises from the outside. But now that you mention it, I remember there was a road which is still pretty much there. I guess what's the name of that street? Gordon Street now. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know that it had a name at that time, but it was a dirt road going
Oh,
down.
yeah, the hill. That was a big hill.
Yeah, it had a little path going up it, and also had that
Yeah.
road going down it. But I remember now that you mention it that some of the black people who lived down the hill behind the Presbyterian Church road back there um, would enjoy hearing Mammy playing the piano. And it seemed like to me that one time somebody was looking in, enjoying the music, but
Mm-hmm.
can't remember exactly about that. Those are just impressions.
Gosh, they're great to hear. Even if
Okay.
they're not correct, I like to hear them.
Oh, me. Okay, well, then I have down here, which I know that you will remember this, is the dinners at Mammy's and Pappy's house, where we would all get together and
Well, I
play.
never got past the kitchen.
I don't know that anybody else, I don't, Ann might have, but I think they stopped. And by the way, you need to introduce your partner.
Oh yeah, this is horrible Harry.
He doesn't look horrible. Hey, Harry. Hey, Harry. He looks very cute.
Well, he was just groomed 2 days ago.
Oh,
You wouldn't have recognized him.
so he can see today.
He can. Adam had cut some because he said, when we're sitting on the couch, and it was all in his eyes, and he said, Mommy's looking at me like this. And the groomer said, Oh, I'm sure he was.
But
But
anyway,
anyway,
the dinner's there, but you remember being there with the cousins and everything.
yeah, you sent me that picture, of, let's see, you must have made it to the big table because it was Anne, Jane, Earl, Johnny. I was in it. Remember? And I got it in a little picture on the fridge.
Oh, we'll bring it over.
Okay. Okay, here you got it.
This was a Christmas dinner
Yeah.
back in the 50s. Oh, cool. See, you've got your mouth open to be funny.
I thought I was so funny.
And so,
I don't see you, so you must be at the big table.
yeah, I think I was that year. So keep holding it, and I'm going to go from right to left. And so that's Earl with his new Christmas guns, and then Anne, and then Ray shoveling it in, and then across from her is George also partaking, and then there's little Johnny and Jane. And so that's the kids' table at Christmas, 1950 something another.
So Louise and her crew, Dossie's crew, would be down in Woodsdale.
Yeah.
Oh, just a minute. So there must not have been any extra people, you know. It's funny. I just don't remember that much about it, but I remember, thinking I was really funny.
But just other times going over, what do you remember about Mammy and Pappy when you would go over to see them?
Well, I was scared to death of Pappy. And one time I think we probably talked about this, but one time he gave me some chewing tobacco and I didn't want it. And he said, "Oh, it's candy. It's really good, Ray. Take a little bit." And I said, "Oh," but I was scared of him. I didn't want to say no. And so I took some and put it in my mouth. And oh my gosh, I thought I was going to throw up. And so I kind of left and I spit it in the garbage can. Well, actually, it was the hall trash can. Oh, and it was in my teeth and ugh. And so pretty soon I hear Mammy and Mom going, "Ray, Ray." And they gave Pappy a hard time, but he just laughed. He thought it was really funny. And I think I told that story.
You might have. You might have told the one about the teeth also. Wasn't that your story?
Oh, when he would take his teeth out.
Yeah.
I don't remember that was my story, but
Okay.
I
Somebody's
remember,
story.
yeah. And I remember George, and Annie Long were living there in the 50s. And one time we were in Mammy and Pappy's room and we were waiting. I can't remember why we wanted to get in the bathroom, but Pappy was in there. And George and I were roughhousing and we kept bumping on the door and Pappy kept yelling at us. And so we kept thumping and bumping each other and wrestling. And then he opened the door and he took George and put a towel under his head, over his head, stuck George's head under his arm, and then kind of halfway spanked him, not hard. And I was frozen because I thought I was next. And I wanted to run, but I couldn't because I knew he would get me. And so he didn't put the towel over my head and spank me. And I remember George, who was, he was older. He was macho. You weren't supposed to be upset. And George said, "I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. I was just surprised."
I bet George remembers that.
He should remember. He's probably got PTSD still.
Okay, well, my time is running out, and so I'm going to stop this feed, and I'm going to send you a new fresh invitation. Right? So we're going to practice getting together again.
Okay.
Okay. So in the meantime, see you later.
Yeah, it won't be sooner, will it?
Oh, okay, here we go.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.